Yes, hello everyone. Welcome back to another video here on Cluiche with me, Séamus, Brady, your host. For this one, I'm joined by Matthew Hurley, the Gaelic Statsman. Matthew, getting into the swing of things now. Obviously, third week in a row we're covering the club championship. I feel like we've developed a little bit of a structure in terms of looking at the days and having a flick through your Instagram posts, of course, that have been covering the club results. Doesn't look as long as previous weeks, so maybe we'll be able to cover it a little bit more in depth. How have you found the last weekend and how have you been keeping yourself?
Yeah, all good, Seamus. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, I suppose this weekend I went to, well, not any senior games as such, but I went to three games covering it for the sort of start for the Echo for the Examiner as well. Went to Adrigole against Gabriel's on Saturday, then a game on Saturday again in Junior A, and then a game in Senior A on Sunday between Donny's and Dublin and Rossa. So, yep, that's the life of a freelance reporter. I respect all the freelance reporters doing it up and down the county, whatever county they're in, Cork or Kerry or whatever, because geez, it is such a hard job. And yeah, but look, you go to these games, you absolutely love going to these games. You're privileged to go to these games, and it was just great to go to these games at the weekend and kept an eye on the Cork Premier Senior Football Championship as well. A few surprises, not many shocks in all honesty. St. Finbarrs were on the edge, but obviously Howard Valley Rovers in the end, and it went through to the quarterfinal, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a bit later on. You had the Kerry Championship starting as well. Yeah, as you said at the start of the show there, you have a few counties that are into the latter stages now. You have the Tipperary quarterfinals are done in hurling. You have Longford quarterfinals done. You have Westmeath quarterfinals done. Laois quarterfinals done. A lot of group stages done as well. The Tyrone quarterfinals are next week as well. So we're going into the knockout stage. Donegal quarterfinals are next week. We have a lot of knockout stage games coming thick and fast in the next few weeks. And before we know it, provincial championships will start to kick off as well. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the rest of the season and definitely looking forward to this chat tonight.
Certainly, right. And you, the viewers, as well. We have a few people watching along with us as well. Throughout the video, do get involved. Put your comments in. Let us know the highlights from your individual county. Let us know if you were at any games from the weekend and what your personal highlight is, because there are so many games. I need to emphasize that again. So many games. We are going to run through them as best we can. But before we run through the games, we're going to run through two headlines, two general news from the GAA. And the headlines, obviously, we discussed Malik O'Rourke already, but this one definitely is relevant to me. Niall O'Callaghan has been named as the new Dublin hurling manager. Now, obviously, this one is relatively old news. It's nearly a week ago since this story broke. But O'Callaghan, who, of course, won the Dublin Hurling Championship with Na Fianna last season, has now been named as the Dublin hurling manager. And I'm not even saying this now because we're in hindsight and we have O'Callaghan. I'm actually happier with this than I was with Micheál Donoghue.
Yeah, I actually think it's a decent appointment for Dublin, considering what O'Callaghan did for Na Fianna last year in the Dublin Championship, winning it for the first time in their history, doing well in Leinster as well. They challenged O'Loughlin Gales all the way in that Leinster final as well. And to be honest, it was a very good appointment for Dublin. But me personally, I probably would have gone Eddie Brennan to go to Dublin, but maybe that was wishful thinking. Dublin probably got the right man in O'Callaghan. He knows the players inside and out now. He's got the best out of the feed of players. So yeah, I think it's an absolutely brilliant appointment for Dublin hurling. And yeah, the Leinster Championship, as I said in previous weeks, is going to be very interesting considering Offaly are back up now. Antrim have Davy Fitz in charge. You have O'Callaghan coming into Dublin. Micheál Donoghue was back in Galway as well. And Kilkenny and Wexford and Offaly as well are the only counties to keep with the same manager. So yeah, I think it's a decent appointment for Dublin. Is it underwhelming in terms of the name? Probably. But in terms of winning things at club level and knowing the players inside and out, I think it's a very good appointment from a Dublin point of view. And yeah, I think Dublin could do well enough next season under his stewardship.
Yeah, no, it does remind me a lot of the Maddie Kenny appointment, because we kind of brought in Maddie Kenny for similar reasons. Like, Maddie Kenny had been the manager of Coola. Coola had won like 2 All-Ireland club hurling titles. And all of our best players at the time were, especially our best defenders, with the exception of Owen O'Donnell, were Coola lads. Like, you had Sean Moore in there, who at the time was fantastic. You had Cian O'Callaghan at right cornerback, who was probably our best man marker. You had Jake Malone. You had Mark Shute, who was with the hurlers at the time. And then, there was always the question of, would Con O'Callaghan ever tog out for the hurlers one day? And Matty Kenny was, the one that we said, you know what, if you can get Coola to win back-to-back All-Ireland club titles, well, surely he can get Dublin moving in the right way. And the thing is that we did get, we had some good results under Matty Kenny. There's no doubt about it. We beat Galway in the Leinster Championship in Croke Park. I know you remember that one, the one where Galway thought they were going to run us over, and we beat them. But the reality is that we didn't have as talented a squad as other teams around us. And I think ultimately that always does come into play. And it always has been the ceiling for Dublin, that we've never been able to quite get past the quarter-final stage. We've never been able to quite get over the line in a provincial final. So that's obviously the one for O'Callaghan. And the thing is that last year, O'Callaghan himself, he was involved in an Afina team that finally got over the line in the Dublin Hurling Championship, because they themselves had struggled time and time again to get past Kilmacud Crokes, get past Ballybowden St. Enda's when it really mattered. So I wonder, will that mentality be part of the reason why we hired him? Because he is used to now, very recently, breaking through the glass ceiling.
Possibly so, and maybe that's why Dublin did appoint him. Because of his club success, and maybe that's why they didn't appoint Eddie Brennan this time round. You look at Bea O'Donoghue, who had a very good CV coming into the Dublin job. Eddie Brennan probably has similar kind of stance on it, and yeah, maybe Dublin just wanted to try something like they did with Matty Kenny, bit of a safer option. And I ultimately think it's a very good appointment, and yeah, the Fianna seem to be going well enough at the Dublin Hurling Championship as well. It'll be interesting, obviously, to see in the next 2 weeks how they progress in that. So yeah, I think it's a very good appointment for Dublin Hurling, and he will get the best out of the Fianna players there, including the likes of Donald Burke there, who is Dublin's star man. There's no doubt about that. He'd love Niall O'Callaghan to come in as manager, I'm sure, into the Dublin team. So yeah, I think it's a very good appointment for Dublin Hurling, and yeah, they should do well next season.
Yeah, no, my general recap on this, just for anybody who's just joined us, obviously Niall O'Callaghan has been named as the new Dublin Hurling manager for 2025 and beyond. And I am very, very happy with this appointment, because the reality is he's a safe pair of hands. The best hurling team in Dublin right now in the club championship. I know that results might change it, but the best team right now is na Fianna. They have Donald Burke, the Curry brothers. They have Shane Barrett. They're an awesome team. And the reality is Niall O'Callaghan will know our best players inside out, and he'll be able to get the best out of them. I always felt like with Donoghue, even though he did a really, really solid job, that it almost felt like it was destiny that he would once again manage Galway at some point. And that you do get that feeling when you have an outside manager managing your team, that they always kind of have one eye on returning to their intercounty job when the opportunity presents itself. So I like O'Callaghan as an appointment. I really, really do. He's solid. And I think Dublin will be solid under his reign. So yeah, I'm happy with this appointment. Dublin fans especially, let me know in the comments below what you make of this appointment. We have a live chat in here as well. Denise here says, great quarterfinals in the Longford Senior Football Championship. Great to see competitive games. Denise, I'd love to see which one was the best one out of the lot, because obviously we have the list of results. But if you let us know which one was your favorite out of them, that would be absolutely great as well. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about this one, because to me, this one is under the radar, but he did a great job, in my opinion. Mark Fitzgerald stepped down as the Clare football manager. I mean, you want to talk about disastrous circumstances to take over in. You're replacing Colin Collins, who is one of Clare's greatest ever managers, period. This guy literally managed them for a decade and absolutely kept Clare to a standard of competing with Division 2, Division 1 teams over and over and over again. They pushed Kerry as close as they have since 1992 when they beat them under Colin Collins' reign. He was there for a decade. Deserved to win something, no doubt about it, but steps away ultimately last year. And then Mark Fitzgerald comes in, and 13 players, wasn't it, stepped away from the intercounty panel? Mm. Mark Fitzgerald still builds that into a cohesive team. They should probably have got promoted from Division 3. We all know about that confusing decision against Westmeath, which ultimately cost them dearly. And then they did well against Kerry in the Munster Championship final. So, look, ultimately, even though the All-Ireland didn't go according to plan, he's done a good job.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job with the players that he had to his disposal with Clare as well, and for testing Kerry in that final, because a lot of people thought that Kerry would just roll all over them. It would be similar to the previous year when Clare faced them in the Gaelic round, but Clare made Ennis into a fortress, and they tested Kerry throughout the game. And I think I'll stand to this point, other than Armagh, Clare were the only team throughout the whole 70 minutes to push up on Kerry. And they got rewards out of it. And Mark Fitzgerald was a brave man for doing that. Ike Buguera obviously getting the goal in that game. Dermot Coughlin was a threat all day. Brian McNamara seemed like a brilliant player coming from midfield as well. And you had new coming of age stars in that Clare team. I spoke about Ike Buguera, about Dermot Coughlin there, about Brian McNamara. You've Ronan Lanigan, the cornerback as well, who had a very good season from a Clare point of view. And it was just, for me, it was just a shame that he left after a year, because he was building a team with Clare. He was doing well. Obviously, tested Cork in that All-Ireland Championship game. Could have easily got a win in that game. Tyrone and Donegal, they were over before the ball was even thrown in, it seemed like. But to be fair, Clare did do well in certain games in the All-Ireland Championship, and they deserved a lot of plaudits for the way they played this season. Obviously, nearly got promoted, no close below cigar. You would imagine Clare would be one of the favourites again to go for Division 3. But again, the Division 3, and I said this to Aaron in previous weeks on his channel, it's going to be very tough next season, because you have Laois coming up from Division 4, got to the Tailteann Cup final. They look a serious threat at the moment. You have I'm trying to think now, Fermanagh, who did well in Division 2, coming down there. Kildare, if they get their act together under Brian Flanagan, they should go back up as well. Sligo are looking good with the younger underage talent. Awfully know of Mickey Hart in the dugout. So it's going to be very, very tough in Division 3 next season, and who's going to get promoted. So I think this could be a case of very bad timing for Clare to lose Mark Fitzgerald the way they did. Who are they going to get in? It's going to be very, very interesting to see. They don't have a lot of time, obviously. It is September. They have 3 months now to get right man in the job. Maybe it is a blessing in disguise that the McGrath Cup is now taken out next season, and Clare just have to go full throttle for the league. So it's going to be interesting to see who they get in as a manager next season. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I would have thought at the top of my head Kevin Walsh maybe could go to Clare, but apparently he's going to stay on another year in charge of the Cork defence next season. So I'm not sure who Clare bring in, but it's going to be a very tough appointment to make. And considering how tough Division 3 is going to be next season, it's a big one for Clare to make.
I think it's not a very I don't think it's a very appealing job for Kevin Walsh, to be honest, to take, because it's going to be a very, very difficult task. Like, that was what we were talking about with Mark Fitzgerald there. Like, as you mentioned, Division 3 is going to be extremely difficult, and the prospect of potentially getting relegated. Division 3 is probably the only division out of the 4 that every year, whoever you think is going up and whoever you think is going down, usually one of them completely swaps. Like, usually whoever you think is going to go down is pushing for promotion, and usually whoever you think is pushing for promotion goes down. Like, the best example I can remember this is when Cavan and Tipperary both got relegated to Division 4 just 1 year after both of them won provincial championships. So, like, the league in Division 3 especially is just tears up the script. So I think Clare need to get this appointment right. They need a safe pair of hands. And when you look at the 13 players that stepped away last year, how many of them have come back? How many of them will be back? Who knows? So it's a difficult task, and they need to make sure that they get the right man for the job. No question about it. Denise has commented in here about the Longford quarterfinals, which I asked which one was the best. Denise has come back in saying either Columkills versus Clongwish or Grenard versus Mullinocta. 9 points from Jason Matthews. Top class. I mean, that speaks for itself, doesn't it, Matthew? 9 points. We will come to that later on in the results. We're going to start off with Friday's results being recapped. So you have it here on Matthew's Instagram page, the Gaelic Statsman. Give that a follow now if you do not. The Limerick Senior Hurling Championship, that's the result that jumps out. Patrick Swell 119, Ahan 117. The Down Senior Football Championship quarter-final, Carrie Duff 112, Ballyhale 9 points. Antrim Senior Football Championship quarter-final, Carrigan 220, St. Mary's, Ahagal 5 points. So big win for Carrigan there. Limerick Senior Football Championship quarter-final, then Father Casey's 212, Galty Gales 6 points, and Newcastle West 111, Ballysteen 1-3. So looking at the headlines there, massive win for Carrigan. A comfortable win for Carryduff in Down. And then Newcastle West, of course, the dominant force in the Limerick Football Championship over the last few years, again picking up a very comfortable win based off their rock-solid defence. But the standout result is Patrickswell beating a hand by 2 points, 119 to 117. Of course, 3 hurlers of the year in the Patrickswell team, Aaron Gallan, Diarmuid Burns and Cian Lynch. And now they are facing off against Kilmallock next in the Limerick Hurling Championship. Really, really interesting matchup ahead.
Should be very interesting, and considering Patrickswell did lose 2 games before this against the Piershig and Doon, they probably need to beat Kilmallock to have any chance of getting a good seeding in the knockout stages. Not necessarily going out though, because if I correct me if I'm wrong about Limerick, but I think it's the top 4 in Group 1 that progressed to the knockout stages. Then in Group 2 is 2, because in Group 2 you have sides like Kildoyle and Palaskendry in there. I think Adair are in there as well. I think it's lowly teams. And then in Group 1 you have the likes of Kilmallock, the Piershig, Doon, Patrickswell. You have the big hitters in that one. So that's the way the Limerick Championship goes, as far as I know anyway. So yeah, I think it's a very good win for Patrickswell over decent hand side. So yeah, decent 2-point win. Obviously, our Galan providing a masterclass, I'm sure, in this game. Diarmuid Burns and Cian Lynch are 2 excellent players to have at your disposal, as well as Patrick Kirby in this team, who's a very good club player for Patrickswell. What I would say, it's great and refreshing to see only 5 senior club games on one day. You know, we don't have to, you know, scroll through every single game and stuff like that. We could go through these.
Read out the comments this time.
Exactly. And it is a sign that they are coming into the knockout stages now, slowly but surely, as shown by the Down and Antrim quarterfinals as well. Carryduff beating Ballyhale. They provided a bit of a shock, I think, at the group stage. Carryduff, correct me if I'm wrong, no, I think they did. Somebody was saying on Twitter, I'm sure. But a good win over Ballyhale themselves by 6 points. Carrigan, they were my favourites for the Antrim Football Championship. I didn't take any risks. They've won the last few, and they look to be on a serious trail again. That was an incredible win over St Mary's at the weekend as well. And in Limerick, Newcastle West, comfortable win for them as well. I would expect them to win the Limerick Championship, in all honesty. Father Casey's had a good win over Galtee Gales as well. So yeah, some eye-catching results there, but Patrickswell obviously the one that stands out. And can they win Limerick this year? Remains to be seen.
That's it. And like, especially over the last few years, Patrickswell have kind of reminded me a lot of Raheny in the football side in Dublin. That you look through the names, like you take like your top 3, top 5 out of Patrickswell, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like how on earth are these lads not cleaning up everything? How are they not like a Ballygunner or a Ballyhale Shamrocks type that like nobody can take it off them? And I suppose it speaks to the quality of the Limerick Hurling Championship, that they've not been able to even get over the line in the Limerick Championship, let alone a Munster Championship or the All-Ireland. Is this the year that they finally put that to right? Because it's a way of trying to work those lads. We were having this debate the other day, I remember saying, are you better off putting Diarmuid Burns at 6, Cian Lynch in midfield and Aaron Gallan at centre forward, or are you better off putting them where they're best? But that debate aside, do you think that this year they can finally get the best out of what they have at their disposal?
It's a tough question to answer, because I thought they genuinely could have had it last year. Like Aaron Gallan was scoring 7 goals in the championship last season. He looked absolutely incredible for him. But then the Piershig beat them quite comfortably. I wouldn't say comprehensively, but comfortably in the final last year. So, like, looks could be deceiving, obviously. Doon have looked very, very good in this Limerick Championship, unbeaten, 100% record. So I would be looking at them probably as the favourites for the Limerick Hurling Championship at the moment. The Piershig, depends whether Peter Casey will come back into the fray or not. That's going to be a big question to answer in the next few weeks, I'm sure. So yeah, Patrickswell definitely have a chance. There's always a chance there. But they have to put in some very good performances in the next few weeks to have any chance of winning the Limerick Championship, because the way Doon are playing at the moment, and if the Piershig hit top form as well, that's 2 very tough sides to beat. So I would expect Doon probably to win it right now, but Patrickswell still have a chance. With the players that they have at their disposal, they should be winning more. But I suppose it is a kind of a case and scenario. Aaron explained it beautifully, obviously, with Ballymore Kickham's in Dublin, and I'd compare Ballymore Kickham's with Patrickswell. You probably know better than me about Dublin, Séamus. You were saying Raheny there. But from the Saints, I was saying Ballymun, because you have James McCarthy, you have Paddy Small, you have John Small, you have Philly McMahon, you have Evan Comfort in goal. But the fact that Dublin went on such a long run in many years in the football championship, obviously other than this year, the players for Ballymun then got tired as soon as the club championship hit. I wonder if that's the same for Patrick's Well. The fact that Limerick are always reaching semi-finals or finals, and then the likes of Dermot Burns, Aaron Gallant, Cian Lynch just don't have the same level of energy when it comes to the Limerick Championship. So maybe that's something to consider as well. So yeah, maybe it's changed for Ballymun this year, as we explained last week. But for Patrick's Well, remains to be seen.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a comparison worth making. The only thing that is different when you're talking about Ballymun and when you're talking about Patrick's Well is Ballymun have won a Dublin Club Championship. And in the last 10, 15 years, 2012, 2013, that season, they won the Leinster Club Championship as well. So they have silverware for the team that they have had. Like if you're looking at Patrick's Well on paper, like to have a team with 3 players who have won Hurler of the Year, they cannot let this team pass them by without winning a Limerick Club Championship and without then probably kicking on and winning a Munster and trying to at least go for an All-Ireland. Because as I said, on paper, they have 3 of the best players that you could argue Limerick have ever had. Like they have been so lucky with the players that they've had. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have won a championship recently, but I get your point in Munster. They haven't done anything in Munster over the last few seasons, and yeah, that's definitely one to behold. Obviously, they have the most titles in Limerick with 20, and they have a manager this year, which I forgot to mention, Kieran Carey, Limerick legend, and he's an excellent manager to get in. Probably an ideal manager to drive on the likes of Cian Lynch, Dermot Burns, and Aaron Gallant. So maybe it is their year. We'll have to.
Nephew.
Yeah, exactly. What an ideal man to get in to the job. But the losses that the Pierce could do still linger at the back of the head, I'm sure. But maybe it's a case that Patrick's Well are saving themselves for later in the championship. Maybe Limerick people know more. Limerick people will know more than us, obviously. 2 stooges talking on the podcast here. But like it's.
Don't worry. Other people will call us that much.
but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Patrick's Well develop in the next few weeks. Yeah, their last Limerick Championship, I'll just check it here, was 2019, so that was 5 years ago. So you'd want to get as much as you can out of the Patrick's Well players in the next few seasons, and added to that as well, Patrick's Well since 2014 they've won, I think it's 2 Limerick hurling championships only, 2016 and 2020, or 2019, sorry.
What did both of those years have in common?
2016 and 2019.
Limerick
didn't win the All-Ireland.
Yeah, there you go.
So
an omen.
We'll have to see the next few weeks, I'm sure. Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, but the reality is, wrapping up on the whole Limerick hurling championship and where we see it going from here. Look, the reality is it speaks to the quality of the Limerick Hurling Championship that a club side that features Dermot Burns, Cian Lynch and Aaron Gallant hasn't just dominated over the last 10 years. Because on paper, you pick 3 players, the top 3 players from any club team around the country. Patrick's Well have a 3 that would match any 3 that any club team in hurling has ever had. 3 players who have all won Hurler of the Year. But the game isn't played on paper. And when you look at Na Piarsaigh, and the amount and the spread of talent that they have around the field, from Will O'Donoghue, Mike Casey, Conor Boyle, and like every part, every line of the team, they have a star. And then they have Peter Casey, who apparently is doing really, really well in terms of recovering from his injury. Kilmallock have a lot of talent in their team. Doon have so much talent in their team as well, from Darragh O'Donovan and Adam English. So the Limerick Hurling Championship is absolutely fierce. And there's a reason why the teams, as talented as they are, have not been dominating anywhere near to the same extent that Ballygunner, for example, have been dominating in Waterford. But yeah, so we're going to move on then to Saturday's club results, and we're going to round these up next. There's a little bit more of these, but not to the same level as before. Just for context for anybody watching, last time we did this episode, I actually had to take a break, and Matthew then carried on talking about the results. That's how many games there were. So we're going to jump in here, and I'm just going to ask for your quick thoughts on both of these results. Tipperary Senior Hurling Championship quarterfinals, Moycarkey Boris 221, Killadangan 316. Killadangan, of course, shockingly out. Tumivara 27 points, JK Brackens 21 points.
Yeah. And looking at the scenes on Clubber, I don't know, did you see this over the weekend? Max Hackett's late goal to win it for Moycarkey Boris. The guy is not going to buy a pint in his local for eternity, I'd say. Like what a finish to a game.
He's on a drinking ban. That's how the GA moves now.
Exactly, yeah. But the thing is, and the Clubber commentator said that he didn't get into the into the game as much as maybe he was expected to. And look at Scorpio, he only scored a goal in this game, but what a score to get in the last minute of the game when it was tense and tight, and to get that winner in the nearly the last puck of the game. Obviously there was a puck out after that as well, but I will say this, yes, it was a brilliant story. Moycarkey Boris, what a story in beating the defending champions Killadangan and knocking them out of the Tipperary Championship. But Séamus, let's call it a spade a spade. If anybody see the goal, it steps. It steps. Simple as. I'm sorry I'm sorry to say this to any Moycarkey Boris fan, but I think they'll admit it themselves. Like, it's just, we talk about consistency in refereeing, and yeah, that steps. It's clearly steps. Like the guy, yes, he might have been fouled with the Killadangan player, the Killadangan defender, as he was going through on goal, but he carries the ball for I don't know how many steps, about nearly 10, maybe over 10. It still gets away with it, and yeah, fires Moycarkey Boris into the semi-finals. It's a magnificent achievement, obviously, and fair play to Moycarkey Boris in winning this game. Obviously, Killadangan, though, I don't think they expected this. I really don't think they expected this. This was one of the shocks of the weekend. Once I'll put it into context, Séamus. I was doing 2 games for the Echo and the Southern Star on Saturday, so I got home late. I looked at the results in doing the post, and I was absolutely gobsmacked seeing this result, because Killadangan, yes, they might not be the most pretty team in Tipperary. They are the defending champions, though, and for them to be beaten in the quarterfinals by a club that wouldn't normally be up at the higher end of the Tipperary Championship in previous seasons, it's a magnificent result, obviously. But yeah, the game kind of swung at the 56th minute according to Scorpio here. Paul Flynn got a second yellow card. That would have been Killadangan, the main player, got sent off in the 56th minute. Maybe that swung things. So well done to Moycarkey Boris again. Commiserations to Killadangan, but we will have new champions in the Tipperary Senior Hurling Championship, which is obviously great to see. And look at the other game, Tumavara and JK Brackens. Dara McCarthy, we've seen him strut his stuff in under 20s for Tipperary, 11 points in this game. Exceptional performance, and he really is a star for the future for the Tipperary team and for Tumavara in general as well. Owen Kelly, I think, was playing with Tumavara last season. I don't see him in the starting lineup now. Maybe he's just retired. I'm sure we're talking about another retiree in a bit now. But Tumavara, a lot of players that have history in their DNA, a lot of history in that club, obviously. And Dara McCarthy seems to be the new with Owen Kelly. Like, he's an exceptional player for the team in Tumavara. So yeah, shock for Moycarkey Boris to make it, but Tumavara will be a dangerous team in the semi-final, because one Tip man actually said to me last season, what Tumavara do have above other teams like the likes of a Turtle Sarsfields or the likes of a Killadangan is history, and they will bring that into the knockout stages, I'm sure, definitely into the semi-finals in the next round.
Yeah, no, and the thing is as well is that once a team that has history gets to a certain stage, you do just believe that they might be able to do something, even if they haven't shown you any sign that they can, because you get this feeling that when they get to a certain stage, they're going to stick their chest out. It's why Kerry in the football, there's that famous saying that Kerry are never underdogs if they're in Croke Park. It's because you've dealt with them so many times, and then they've always put in a performance in Croke Park. Now, we're going to move on. We've got a lot of football action to cover. What we'll do actually instead is we'll cover the hurling matches that were on the Saturday as well before moving to the football, which we have a lot to get through of. Meath Senior Hurling Championship quarter-final, Kilmessan 3-18, Killian 1-14. So a very impressive win there for Kilmessan. And then in the Dublin Hurling Championship, we'll do a little bit my reaction to these games. So Lucan Sarsfields 128, Nafina 321, a cracker there. Kilmacud Crokes 523, St. Bridget's 110, an absolute mauling there for Kilmacud Crokes. Ballybowden St. Dennis 126, Crave Kieran 216, Whitehall Columkill, my club, 24 points, St. Jude's 14 points. Very, very impressed with the lads' performance there in that last game. And what's interesting about us is we've relocated Owen O'Donnell to full forward. Now that's where he plays for us. And I tell you, Owen O'Donnell, strongest man in Ireland, pound for pound. That fella can cause mayhem for any full back line in the country. And I wonder if O'Callaghan is looking at that, thinking there's something to work with there.
Maybe so, and he's in football. In football, he's full forward as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Séamus. So he knows the role pretty well. So I suppose that is a good for Owen O'Donnell to go into the full forward line for them. And Whitehall Columkill are going along nicely. Obviously to your glee, a very good win over St. Jude's at the weekend as well. Ballybowden were pretty comfortable. Kilmacud, again, that's a magnificent result to get over St. Bridget's. And Lucan Sarsfield is beating the Fina. Was that a shock? I'm sure that was a shock, surely.
It was a surprise, but not really that much of a shock. I think Lucan have been pretty good in the Dublin Hurling Championship for the last 2 seasons. They have the Crummy brothers, Chris and Paul. They have Chris O'Leary, who's been on the Dublin team now for a few years. Like, they have a solid team, but I still would have made Na Fianna strong favourites for that game. And you do wonder, O'Callaghan being announced as the Dublin Hurling manager and all this, and then Na Fianna suffer a bit of a surprise defeat. You are looking and saying, did those two things play in mind? But I still think Na Fianna are going to take some stopping for the ultimate prize.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, in the next few weeks, you have a few contenders. That's what you want in Dublin. Obviously, competition. Lucan have definitely provided that as well. And just on Chris O'Leary, a Valley Rovers man, back in Cork as well. So great to see him do well for Lucan Sarsfield from a personal point of view. Kilmacud, look, like, that's a magnificent result against St. Bridget's again. Do you think they could stop Na Fianna? Because they have the history, obviously, in winning Dublin championships.
Lucan, you see, there's always the kind of, I would say, cautiousness because I haven't seen them do it. Like the reality is Lucan have looked good for a few seasons now, and they've usually put up 1 or 2 really, really impressive results in the group stages and everything like that. But the reality is, when it's come down to the business end, they have been edged out by Na Fianna and Kilmacud Crokes and Ballybowden and Coola for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Like, they've been edged out by them. So it's one of those, again, where I'm a bit like, show me, don't tell me. Like, don't tell me that you've got all these players. And that's a massively impressive result to beat Na Fianna, regardless of whether Na Fianna are already through or anything like that. Like, it's still something that they would have wanted to win. And for O'Callaghan as well, to be announced as the Dublin manager and then immediately lose your match, like, it's not the best welcome to the job. And Lucan would be delighted that they kind of spoiled the party in that regard. Look, I think that the best team to potentially upset Na Fianna, I think it's still Kilmacud Crokes. I still think they're the most likely to stop them. But I actually do put Lucan as the kind of dark horse of a third team that maybe could win the Dublin Championship. But I think it's going to come from Kilmacud or Na Fianna. I think they're the two teams that have dominated Dublin hurling now for the last 3 years. And I think that it's not changing this year. I think as good as Lucan look, I still think it's going to come from Na Fianna or Kilmacud. But I could be wrong. So what we're going to do next is we're going to move into the football championship results. So starting with Kerry, Dr. Crokes continue their impressive run of form, beating Kenmare Shamrocks 114-2-7. St. Kieran's 114, West Kerry 11 points. Shannon Rangers 113, Nagale 1-9. Galway Senior Football Championship, Salt Hill Knocknacarra 2-10, Cahill Strand 2 points. Navanna Letchermore 2-8, Mount Bellew-Moylock 2-7. Moycullen 9 points, St. James's 6 points, Dunmore McHale 9 points, Moniva Abbey 8 points. The Armagh Senior Football Championship quarter-final playoff, Crossmaglen Rangers 2-13, Silverbridge 1-11. The Derry Senior Football Championship, Slough-Neil looking good there, 2-17 to Bellaghy's 9 points. Kilray 1-10, Swatcher 1-10, Sean O'Leary Newbridge 11 points, Steelestown Brian Oaks 8 points. The Mayo Senior Football Championship, Brady 14 points, Iamore 7, Ballintubber 14 points, Kilmena 1-9, Garrymore 2-8, Charlestown 11 points, Castlebar Mitchells 2-9, Ballyhonus 1-8. The Donegal Senior Football Championship preliminary quarter-finals, and Cluiche 1-7, Downings 8 points, St. Eunan's 2-11, Ardara 5 points. The Kildare Senior Football Championship, Athy 5-10, Allenwood 1-13, Selbridge 2-16, Clougher & Co 1-7, Carberry 9 points, St. Lawrence's 6 points. Offaly Senior Football Championship quarter-finals, Eden Derry 16 points, Bracknell 2-7, Tullamore 1-14, Duro 1-3. Just going to take a little break there. So out of Offaly, Kildare, Donegal, Mayo, Derry, Armagh, Galway and Kerry, which one springs out?
There's a few. To be honest, Dr. Crokes beating Kenmare Shamrocks in the Kerry Championship just shows that Kenmare Shamrocks got close to Dingle in the club championship, as many viewers would know at this stage, because this is a topic of conversation every club championship season. There was 2 Kerry championships, obviously, the county championship and the club championship. So this is the county championship now. The club championship was won by Dr. Crokes. And if the county championship is won by a divisional team, say like an East Kerry or Shannon Rangers or West Kerry or whoever, then Dr. Crokes take Kerry's place in the Munster Senior Football Championship this season in the provincial championships. Yeah. I love the way you just put it in italics there, Séamus. Like
I remember they had it a few years ago where Cairns went through as champions and they'd been beaten 3 times in the. I was like, here, what is going on?
And they won the Munster.
They got out into what was that year a relatively weak Munster Championship.
It was Nemo Rangers lost to Clonmel Commercials in the quarters.
Yeah, and then Clonmel immediately went and bottled it against Newcastle West. So the only team Cairns had to beat was Newcastle West.
Yeah,
to get into the All Ireland semi-final against Kilmacud. I remember that. That was mental.
Just a mental year, no doubt about it. But joking aside, Dr. Crokes, that's a very good victory to get a 4-point victory over Kenmare, who definitely tested Dingle in the club semi-final. So yeah, Dr. Crokes took it serious fettle at the moment. I'm sure there's other teams challenge him. I'm sure we'll talk about that in Sunday's results. In the Galway Championship, Ballyhale losing to Naomh Anna Lettermore. I think that's Ballyhale out of the championship now. I might be corrected by a Galway fan here.
I'm sorry, man. I've never bought them. Like every year, Mount Ballymoylock get way overblown. The people talk about them winning the All Ireland Club Championship, and they've never really got out of Galway. And the one year that they did, they fell at the first hurdle.
That's it exactly. And it's going to be a difficult win.
All they did was shove the referee halfway across the pitch when the game was finished.
Don't remind me. We don't want to rant about referees and stuff like that. But look, that's a difficult defeat to take.
Do you not have a team like that like you just don't really understand what the fuss is? But you know, when you're talking about people who pick, I always look at who has been to the top of the mountain. Maybe not even got across the line, but there's a clear pattern that has emerged in the club championship over the last 5 years. And if you ignore it now, the winner, I would say, will likely come from a club that has been to the Final Four in the last 3 years. Because there's a clear pattern. Kilcoo lost the final, they came back, they win it the next year. Kilmacud lose the final, they come back, they win it the next year. Glen lose the final, they come back, they win it the next year. Now, I'm not saying that means that Bridget's are definitely going to win next year's one. But my point is that if Bridget's get there and they're playing against a team, I don't know, let's pick an absolutely random one out of the air, but let's pick someone like Nafina from Dublin. Let's say Nafina get out. St. Bridget's have an undeniable advantage over Nafina in the All-Ireland Club Final because they've been there and they know how they lost that game. They know where they lost that game. And it does give you an advantage.
Definitely.
But never have shown an ability to even get out of Connacht.
And that's the thing as well. I've just confirmed it in my head now because they lost to Salt and Knocknacara in this Galway Championship, and now they've lost to Naomh Anna Lettermore. And it's a 4-team group, so they only beat Carla Strand. So third place and they're out. they are out of the Galway Championship now. And to be fair, Navan and Lettermore don't have as much big talent, but deservedly obviously won this game by a point and definitely did well against Salton Knocknacar in the game shown on TG Car as well. So they are no pushovers whatsoever. They proved it in this game. Salton Knocknacar, they would have been my bets for the Galway Championship, and they've won 3 games. And I think they look really, really good at the moment with Rob Finnerty in the team up front, Tom O'Callaghan there as well. Like, they have some excellent players. They really, really do. So they'll be definitely John Maher as well. Yeah, definitely. So they definitely have a chance of winning, and Mike Cullen winning as well. I'm sure they'll do well in the knockout stages as well. Crossmaglen beating Silverbridge pretty comfortably in the end, but there was a special moment in this game. The late, great, obviously, Caelan Finnegan had the number 15 on the match programme, and Crossmaglen honoured him during that game, which was absolutely brilliant to see. And yeah, you nearly want, I know I backed St. Pat's Cullyhanna to win the Armagh Championship. I know Crossmaglen would be considered the favourites every year in Armagh, but after the year that the club have had, you kind of want them to go on and win the Armagh Championship now. How they deal with a tragic loss like that, I'm not sure, but obviously Caelan would be looking down his teammates and be very, very proud of them, obviously, and make Caelan rest in peace. Obviously, added to that, in the Derry Championship, Slotneil, they look at serious fettle, don't they? For context, Ballyhale narrowly lost to Watty Grimsglen early on in the campaign by 2 points. Slotneil swatted them aside in this one. It wasn't even close. Like, this was, what was it in the end, 14 points? Jeez, that's an incredible victory and very good victory for Slotneil, I'm sure. Brady obviously winning in the Mayo Championship as well. A few results went to form there, and Donegal, St. Eunan's carry on their form by beating Ardara as well. The Kildare Championship, another story in this one. I know Allenwood got beaten by a 5-10 to 113, but it was the retirement of the great Johnny Doyle, 46 years of age. Hung up his boots at the weekend. He said it was his last outing with the club, and legend for Allenwood, legend for Kildare. One of my favourite footballers growing up. Obviously, that Kildare team with Geese were in charge, Dermot Earleys, the Emmett Boltons, and Johnny Doyle was the scorer-in-chief in that team. A legend of a player, obviously on my podcast as well. A pleasure to chat to the guy as well. Such a legend of Kildare football, of Gaelic football itself, and obviously I wish him all the best in his retirement, and definitely an Allenwood legend, Kildare legend. And yeah, Johnny, what a legend you absolutely are in Gaelic games. So yeah, that was a story in the Kildare Championship, and Tullamore getting a good win in Offaly as well. So yeah, some good stories in the Championship, but the main was probably the thing that Crossmaglen did, and the retirement of the great Johnny Doyle.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you put that both very, very well. It was a nice touch by Crossmaglen to obviously honour Caelan Finnegan. And look, I mean, that's a situation that you cannot wrap your brain around, how such a young lad can be taken so soon. And it was a nice touch by Crossmaglen to put his name on the programme. And yeah, I'm the same as you. I am rooting for them to win the Armagh Championship just so that they can, honour him even further. And then obviously Johnny Doyle as well, went out fighting with Allenwood, no doubt about it. And absolutely, like, you're talking the trend that's going around about Champo man. Johnny Doyle was always a Champo man that you'd always love to see. Gave Dublin a lot of problems in the Leinster Championship back when teams used to do that. But Johnny Doyle definitely was a man that I always respected, and seems like a lovely fella as well. Seems like a really good GA man. Yeah. Yes. And all the best in retirement, Johnny. You've certainly earned it, no question about it. And let's be honest, he probably isn't really hanging up the boots. He's probably going to play Junior B until he's like 67 years old, and then he'll play Junior C until he's 90. But he's one of those lads that I'm sure he'll be talked into it over a few pints to play for the Junior Bs or something somewhere down the line. But going to run through the rest of the results. So Saturday's club results, the round up now, the rest. So starting off then the second half with the Laois Senior Football Championship quarterfinals, Portarlington 1-9, Ballyrone Abbey 1-7, and Portlaoise hammered St. Joseph's 5-15 to 15 points. Real statement win there for Portlaoise. Westmeath Senior Football Championship quarterfinal, the Downs 2-14, Athlone 13 points. Antrim Senior Football quarterfinal, Roger Caseman's Port Glenone 2-10, Navone 1-12. The Longford Senior Football Championship quarterfinals, as Denise spoke about earlier, Cologne Young Emmets 210, Dramard 110, and Colin Kills 1-7, Cluiche 8 points. Two very tight games there. Wicklow Senior Football Championship quarterfinals, Bolton Glass 10 points, Arklow 9, Kiltegan 112, Era Oak Greystones 1-9. Carlow Senior Football Championship quarterfinal, Era Oak 1-6, Mount Leinster Rangers 6 points. Era Oak getting back on the winning column there. Sligo Senior Football Championship, Drumcliff Ross's Point 1-6, Turlestrand 7 points. Surprising to see Turlestrand lose. Shamrock Gales 115, Eastkey 114. Leitrim Senior Football Championship relegation semi-finals, Anaduff 210, Dromahare 1-4, Glencar Manor 111, Gertla Tara 8 points. So Gertla Tara and Dromahare in relegation trouble there. Limerick Senior Football Championship then, Kildimo Paliskenry 211, Ula 2-6, Adair 10 points, Napirshik 1-7, Mungret St. Paul's 1-9, St. Kieran's 1-5. Monolith 210, Ballylanders 9 points. And then the last two, Clare Senior Football Championship, Lissy Casey 8 points, Kildee Start 4 points, Waterford Senior Football, the Nair 12 points, Rownmore 8. And the last one on Rin 114, Clashmore, Kinsalabeg 9 points. That sneeze was coming for 2 minutes. And I nearly got through it. But the last result, I just couldn't do it anymore. Out of those ones, I'll ask you to pick just one that jumps out to you before we move on to Sunday's games.
Can I pick two? You know what? First of all, Turlestrand losing to Drumcliff Ross's Point by 2 points. They're now out of the Sligo Championship. So they're out in the group stages. That's probably one of the shocks of the club championship. Apparently, Sligo fans were telling me in the past few weeks that Turlestrand had a lot of players going abroad. Maybe that was the reason why they struggled so much in this championship. That's their second loss of the championship, and now they are out. So a shock there in Sligo. And the other result I'm going to mention, Portlaoise and St. Joseph's, because I made club predictions on my Twitter and obviously on ours channel throughout the year. I said Portlaoise should win the Laois Championship, and they were saying, is that a guess? Is this Laois fans were saying, is that a guess? St. Joseph's surely are better than Portlaoise. That was one of the teams mentioned. They just beat them by 15 points. Portlaoise has beat St. Joseph's by 15 points. So I'll take the W there. And Portlaoise, I still bat them to win the Laois Championship.
Sometimes you're good at guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm only guessing.
You don't.
I told them.
Exactly. That's the way it goes. But very good win for Portlaoise, and they are a serious threat to win the Laois Championship, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a result that definitely jumps off the page, because a lot of people were back in St. Joseph's obviously at the start. Portlaoise are the town club, no doubt, in Laois, and they're probably the one that everybody hates who isn't part of Portlaoise, but they're definitely getting up there once again. 5-15 to 15 points is a hell of a victory. Now we're moving on to Sunday's club results. So starting off with the two games that were broadcasted on TG Cahir at the weekend. So we had one from Tipperary and obviously one from Kilkenny. We're going to split this section up and go hurling and then go football. So starting off with the Tipperary Senior Hurling Championship quarterfinals, Turles Sarsfields 29 points, Nina Era Og 119, and Lockmore Castleiney 222, Kilrowan McDonough's 119. So Lockmore Castleiney and Turles Sarsfields into the next round there. And the Kilkenny Senior Hurling Championship, Bennett's Bridge 16 points, Clara 14 points, Dixborough 124, Greg Ballycallan 111. And then the relegation playoffs in Kilkenny as well. Relegation semi-finals, Ballyhale Shamrocks 419, James Stevens 119, Aaron's Own 514, Glenmore 121. And then also moving into the other games, which are hurling championships. Is there any?
I'm trying to look at the comments.
Oh, there is. I knew there was a couple. Right down the bottom of the list, Armagh Senior Hurling Championship semi-finals. Cades of Darrick 321, Derry Noose 314. Middletown 111, Crave Rua 11 points. And the Meath Hurling Hurling Championship quarter-final, Kildalkey 220, Kiltal 113. Now, the rest of the games on Sunday are football. Well, what did you make of the hurling action from the weekend?
I think the game of the weekend, and it was just unfortunate I didn't have the time to watch this, was Turles Sarsfields against Nina Rogue. I know this game wasn't live at TG Cahir, but it was like a clubber. Would have been a game that interested me because Turles Sarsfields, an excellent side, obviously, have relations from Nina as well. So was interested in this game, see O'Neill would turn up against them. And to be honest, looking at this scoreline, it was comfortable enough for Turtle Sarsfields in this game, and they should win the Tipperary Championship from here. They lost it last year after a replay to Kildangan, losing to them twice in 1 year and drawing to them as well. That they'd be going to go on and win the Tipperary Championship this year. And you look at the semi-finalists now, you have I'm not sure the semi-finalist pairings now, but these are the 4 teams left. Turtle Sarsfields, Lockmore Castleknock, Tumavara and Mulcarkey Boris. I'd be shocked if the winner isn't either Turtle Sarsfields or Lockmore Castleknock. I'll be honest with you. So
I would be in Turles.
You would think Turles?
Because I think if you watch the Lockmore game, like Kilruan were in a very good position and they threw the game away. They absolutely handed 2 goals on a platter to Lockmore. The first one came from a god-awful puck out that went straight to John McGrath. And then the second one came from being turned over at the back, and then Liam McGrath stuck it in net. So, like, they nobody but themselves to blame for losing that game. And I think if you look at it this way, I don't think Turles Stars will make the same mistakes that Kilruan made.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point, as well as that Lockmore Castleknock football to contend with as well. So
it's good. And they've a small squad. Amazing squad, but it is small.
Yeah, so I would back probably Turtle Sarsfields to win it, but they're kind of like Patrick Swell down through the years in Tipperary. Obviously, Patrick Swell, Limerick, and Turtle Sarsfields in Tip. They seem to be the favourites nearly every season, but they just can't get over the line. And I don't know what reason that is for Turtle Sarsfields. They have the talent. There's no doubt about that. Ronan Maher is an exceptional defender. You have Ed Stakeland, who are excellent players in their own right as well. Paddy Creedon, who's a very good forward in there for Turtle Sarsfields. It's just they can't do it on the big days in the semi-finals and finals over the last few seasons. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll have to see if they can do it this time around. But that was a very good win over a decent Nina team with Jay Morris on their side. So, and they would have been dark horses nearly for the Tipperary Championship. So a very good win for Turtle Sarsfields there. Lockmore Castleknock obviously beat Kilruan, but as you were saying there, Kilruan had the chances to win the game, didn't do it, and Lockmore Castleknock get over the line. Kilkenny, I haven't done these in a few weeks because this is a weird kind of a format with Kilkenny. I don't know, did you find this, Séamus? The league and the championship is kind of combined. And it's kind of hard to see, is that the league result? Is that the championship result? It's very, very hard to see. And apparently Ballyhale Shamrocks were in danger of going down. Well, that's been quashed now. They beat James Stephens. But yeah, that was kind of a shot that they were in the relegation semi-final in the first place. Not sure how that happens. But look, they got over the line against James Stephens, a very good result for them to avoid relegation. And then good wins for Bennettsbridge and Dixborough in this championship. So I would imagine Ballyhale Shamrocks are out of the contention for the Kilkenny Senior Hurling Championship and looking at that. So I would say O'Loughlin Gaels are probably the clear favourites to go on and win for a second year in a row in Kilkenny this season.
Yeah, especially when you look at Fiona Mackesy being, added to the squad that they have, and Owen Wall and players like that getting experience of playing with the Kilkenny Senior Hurling team. Like, they definitely will be in good steps. Now moving on to the football action, which took place on the Sunday, of which there is a lot. So the Kerry County Football Championship, East Kerry 4-16, Rathmore 2-12. The East Kerry Harlem Globetrotters begins again. Mid Kerry 2-13, Dingle 3-7. Milltown Castlemaine 2-11, Spa 16 points, Temple No 11 points, Field Rangers 10, and St. Brendan's Board 116, South Kerry 13 points. In the Galway Senior Football Championship, Annadown 2-13, Killannon 2-8, Octorad 2-10, Clare Galway 12 points, Barno 110, Milltown 12 points, Currafin 2-8, Tomb Stars 12 points. And then in the Mayo Senior Football Championship, Bala 3-12, Mayo Gales 11 points, Ballina Stephenites 2-10, Westport 14 points, Ballahadreen 4-8, Clare Morris 2-14, Knockmore 1-14, Belmullet 1-11. The Derry Senior Football Championship, Waddy Graham's Glen 10 points, Dungiven 9 points. Glen being pushed all the way. Labby 3-16, The Loop 2-11, O'Donovan Russa 3-7, Ballinascreen 1-7. I'm going to stop here. Out of the Derry, Mayo, Galway and Kerry Senior Football Championships, which are the main results to stick out to you there?
2-1 in Kerry were East Kerry beating Rathmore. For context as well for our listeners, Rathmore were the semi-final of the club championship. So to beat them by that margin it just shows that East Kerry are an inter-county tie. I don't care what anybody says. You have David Clifford of the team, you have Paddy Clifford of the team, and you didn't have Fossa going up last season. They're just getting stronger. Mid Kerry don't have Miltown Castlemaine this year. They don't have those players. It's going to be very, very difficult for anybody to stop the East Kerry train this year. I think they're going to win the county championship, in all honesty. Mid Kerry beating Dingle for the second year running in the championship is quite a shock, actually, considering Mid Kerry have lost, obviously, as I mentioned, the Miltown Castlemaine players. Dingle, the wheels are starting to come off a bit. Losing the final against Dr. Cross a few weeks ago, and now losing this game to Mid Kerry, so quite concerning there. And a quick mention as well, the Kerry championship to Miltown Castlemaine. Excellent win over Spa. They struggled badly in the club championship, and for them to get their first win of the club championship, or the county championship, should I say, is an excellent result, and well done to all involved in the Miltown Castlemaine club. In Galway, went around expected Lions, Corfin and Oughterard winning games as well. Mayo, Ballyhale Stephenites against Westport. What I was hearing was Ballyhale Stephenites were very, very lucky to win the game. Westport, Lee Keegan, obviously a legend for Westport and still playing for them, was saying, how on earth did we lose this game, apparently in the media. So it was a tough one to take, I'm sure, for Westport. For Ballyhale Stephenites, a good win, and the train keeps rolling for them. And the Derry Championship, the main story is Watty Graham's Glen. I've said it and I'll say it again. They are scraping over the line in these games. I think the wheels are coming off the wagon. I think Schlockneil will go on and win the Derry Championship. I said it on Aaron's channel, and I'm saying on this channel, I think Schlockneil will go on and win the Derry Championship. Look at the results so far. I don't think Glen are setting trees alight at all in this championship so far.
I agree. I think Schlockneil will take their crown off them, because especially you look at Malachy O'Rourke, being announced as the Tyrone football manager. That can't be good for the morale within the camp. They know that the show and the era is coming to an end, and it might be Schlockneil that, talk about a club rivalry. Schlockneil and Glen, I don't know if there's a more fierce club rivalry anywhere in the country. I think Schlockneil would absolutely love to be the team to end this dynasty that Glen have had in Derry. Now, Nulty Jack comments here saying Ballyhale looked good. All championships heating up nicely. Cologne favourites to win Longford after the weekend, though I fancy the winner of Colmkills, Mullinocta, to win it. The Longford Championship definitely seems to be heating up there as well. Mullinocta, of course, are always the name that are going to be on everybody's lips, but I actually really like the look of Cologne at the start of the year. We're going to move then into the other championships, which took place on the Sunday. So the Cork Premier Senior Football Championship, Nemo Rangers 2-11, Newcestown 11 points, Ballincollig 2-8, Éire Óg 7 points, Clonakilty 2-18, St. Michael's 1-6, Castlehaven 14 points, Carbery Rangers 9 points, St. Finbarr's 4-12, Valley Rovers 11 points, Douglas 14 points, Mallow 9 points. Now, I'm going to make a break here just as a Cork man. What jumps out from the weekend in the Cork Premier Senior Football Championship?
The game on everybody's lips going into this weekend was St. Finbarr's and Valley Rovers, because it was a game that St. Finbarr's had to win to get to the knockout stages. So, and they won it. They won it at a canter in this one. But this game wasn't streamed or anything like that, so we had to go through reports and stuff like that. And Barry O'Mahony for the Echo did an excellent report on the game. I was reading and listening on the Echo podcast earlier today about it, and he was saying that Valley Rovers, the result is very unfair on them. St. Finbarr's, there was nervous times in the game. Valley's did well in some aspects of it, but the goals killed them, and St. Finbarr's now into the next round, and without the hurling as well. So they are a dangerous team for anybody in the Cork Championship, there's no doubt about that. Clonakilty putting up a major scoreline in St. Michael's, and Clonakilty seemed to be like a defensive kind of a side with the likes of Mar Shanley, Dan Peat. There was defenders there, but two great attackers in this game, Dargoff and Conor Daly in this game for Clonakilty. Definitely deserve their flowers in this with a very good result from a Clonakilty point of view. Ballincollig beating Éire Óg, and now Éire Óg are the relegation playoff against Carbery Rangers. That's a quite interesting one in the relegation playoff, because Carbery Rangers won the county championship. They're other than the big trio, Castlehaven, the Bars and Nemo, Carbery Rangers are the most recent Cork football champions, and now they're in the relegation playoff. So you could see a big club go down there, and Éire Óg as well have the likes of Chris Kelly in their team, Colm O'Callaghan in their team, who's an excellent player for Cork. So a big club is going to go down in Cork this year, so very interesting to see that point of view. Nemo beating Newcestown as well, an excellent result for them, and Castlehaven getting over the line against Carbery Rangers. So I have actually the bracket for the Cork Championship if you want to read it out here. So on one side of the draw, you have St. Finbarr's against Ballincollig in the quarterfinal. The winner of that game plays Castlehaven in the semi-final. we could have part 5 of Castlehaven against St. Finbarrs in the semi-final of the Cork Championship.
Yeah.
It's just incredible at this rate that these two sides haven't met in the final, and they won't meet in the final this year. They'll probably meet in the semi-final. Obviously, Ballyhale, there's a job to do for the Bars at the quarter-final, but it's leading towards a Castlehaven and St. Finbarr semi-final, which will be very interesting to see. The other two quarter-finals are Nebo Rangers against Clonakilty and Muskerry against Mallow. So the winners of those games obviously play each other in the semi-final. Clonakilty and Nebo Rangers played each other in the quarter-final last year. Low-scoring game in treacherous conditions. I was at that game as well last season. So yeah, it should be a very good game. Good forwards on show, the likes of Ross Tarquin, Mark Cronin, Conor Daly, Darragh Goff. So hopefully that'll be a good game to watch. And Mallow against Muskerry is a quite interesting one, because Muskerry are divisional side. They have a lot of players, the likes of Chris O'Jones for smaller clubs, involved for their own clubs in championships up and down the county in Cork, in Premier Intermediate and all them kind of grades. So they have to play twice in one weekend, and they're playing Mallow. It's going to be an interesting quarter-final. It's going to be very interesting to see who wins that. But we will have a new semi-finalist, which is good for the Cork Championship. But that potential Castlehaven St. Finbarr semi-final for the 5th time in a row in a semi-final. Take the popcorn out, Séamus. That tends to be a cracker.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's two huge clubs going head-to-head. That always brings fireworks. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to run through the rest of the football championship matches, which took place from across the Sunday. So here we go. The Armagh Senior Football Championship quarter-final playoff, Killeavy 113, Graymore 9 points. Donegal Senior Football Championship preliminary quarter-finals, Four Masters 8 points, Killybegs 4 points, Guidor 16 points, Sean McCool's 8 points. And then the relegation playoffs in Donegal, Aorua 215, Cloughaneely 9 points, Glenfin 10 points, Navenala 8 points. So Aorua and Glenfin both safe for another year. Kildare Senior Football Championship, Nace 12 points, Sarsfield 7, Eadstown 2-8, Confey 1-5, Johnstown Bridge 11 points, Raheens 11 points, Kilcock 3-10, Maynooth 10 points, and Moorfield 2-12, Clane 10 points. Monaghan Senior Football Championship, Ballybay, Pierce Brothers 3-12, Aucknamullen 2-6, Scottstown 1-14, Cromartin 1-7, so that's the champions winning there in Monaghan. Latin 1-11, Clontibret 13 points. Inniskeen, Grattan 6-14, Dunamoyne 2-13. Down Senior Football Championship quarter-final, Burren 2-10, Breed at 1-10, Glen 16 points, Bryansford 12 points. Antrim Senior Football Championship quarter-finals, Law of Darragh 15 points, Kickham's Cregan 13 points, Nave Breach 1-15, Dunloy 2-9. Laois Senior Football Championship quarter-finals, O'Dempsey's 2-9, Arlis Killeen 10 points, Greg Cullen 1-14, Killishin 1-11. Offaly Senior Football Championship quarter-finals, for Ban 12 points, Road 10 points, Shamrocks 1-15, Ballycommon 3-9, Ballycommon 1 on penalties. And then the Westmeath Senior Football Championship quarter-final, Tyrrell's Pass 1-15, Mullingar Shamrocks 14 points. And in the two Longford football quarterfinals that were on the Sunday, Mullingnocta 1-15, St. Mary's Grenard 1-14, Abilara 10 points, Rathcline 1-5. And it's not over yet. Wicklow Senior Football...
Just one thing, James. It was actually Shamrocks that beat Ballycommon in the Offaly quarter-final on penalties.
Apologies.
Yeah. So
I thought
yeah.
put it on the right side. Now, so running into the comments then as well. The Wicklow Senior Football Championship quarterfinals, Dunlavin 2-11 on Tucker 1-13, Tinahilly 2-14, Rathnew 15 points. Carlow Senior Football Championship quarterfinal, Rathvilly 4-22, Bagenalstown Gales 1-6, and the most difficult name to say in the world. Sligo Senior Football Championship, Coolera Strandhill 1-12, Tubbercurry 8 points, St. Molais Gales 1-20, St. Mary's 2-9, Wexford Senior Football Championship, Shelmaliers 13 points, Sarsfields 9, Naivana 15 points, Buncloddy 2-7, St. James's 3-7, Gussaran 2-10, Castletown Lee Mellius 120, Starlight 7 points, Crossabeg Ballymurn 10 points, Glen Barntown 1-6, Killenarin 1-10, St. Dan's Rotangan 7 points. Waterford Senior Football Championship, Ballinacorty 2-15, Bricky Rangers 6 points, Rathgormack 1-12, Kilversanti 4 points. The Roscommon Senior Football Championship relegation playoff, Western Gales 1-12, Tusk 1-11, Clare relegation playoff, Doonbeg 1-10, Kilmihill 11 points. That is all of the results from across the weekend in the club championship. One more?
One more result just did it on Monday night. The Down Senior Football Championship quarterfinal. Kilcoo 115, Mayo Bridge 8 points.
Was this today?
It was today. It was tonight. Yeah, Monday night games. Don't know why, to be honest, but there you go.
That's probably just because Kilcoo decided they wanted the game on Monday.
Yeah, they have the power in Down.
I mean, they decide who refs the game, so. I mean, remember that? That was one of the most mental stories I've ever heard. Just that a team was just like, no, he's not reffing the game. I've heard of many teams saying that they didn't like a referee, but I'd never heard of a team saying that they were not playing the game if that referee was reffing. That was that. I remember I said it to Aaron at the time. It was like, do you remember when you were younger and you were playing football with your mates and you have that kid who took the ball back if he wasn't winning?
Yeah. That's exactly it. No doubt. But
Like
there is a draw. The draw that happened in the Down Senior Football Championship semi-finals. It's Carryduff against Burren and Kilcoo against Glen. So all routes lead to a Burren-Kilcoo final, which should be a cracker.
It should be. And I think if there's one team that is capable of ending the Kilcoo dynasty in Down, it is Burren. Especially if you look on paper, Burren have a hell of a squad. They have the likes of Danny McGill and that team. Like, they should be able to stand toe-to-toe with Kilcoo more than they did last season. But anyway, that's another hour and 6 minutes in the book. This has been another episode on Cluiche, recapping and reviewing the weekend's club championship action and talking about the GAA stories. Thank you so much to Jack Nolte and to Denise, of course, again, for throwing in the comments during the episode. It really, really improves the episode every time, and it gives us your perspective on the club action as well, because as you saw, a lot of games, so it's good to get your take on it as well. Thank you so much to Matthew for jumping on for another episode. Thank you for anybody who did watch. We will be back again with an episode during the week, maybe this time as I settle into life in Galway. And then, of course, back again this time next week for a weekend review episode. Thanks so much for everybody for tuning in. Until the next one, take care.